Hey everybody, I'm John. I collect cards. Hope you're doing well. It is Saturday, May 13th. I'm sporting the shirt of my soccer club, or football club, I guess you could say, Sunderland AFC. They are playing they're about to kick off in the championship playoff against Luton Town. There's four clubs that are going at it here, and after next weekend at Wembley in London, the winner gets promoted to the Premier League next year. So next season. So hoping Sunderland can make that happen. They're kind of on an interesting ride here. My affiliation for them actually predates the Netflix series that came out a few years ago. I have a connection to my family to that Northeast England region, and so I was just looking for a team to follow 7, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, and so I kind of gravitated towards Sunderland, and it's been an interesting ride, to say the least, if any of you follow English football. But root for them today. But let's move on to baseball here. That's the reason for this video. I'm going to show a few cards of some rookie cards, actually, of some potential Hall of Famers, and we'll get right to it. I'll flip the camera around. All right, so without further ado, the first card I want to show here is vintage 1955 rookie Ken Boyer. Again, these are recent pickups I've had in the last month or so, I guess you could say. I've watched a few videos of late about, players who are like kind of on, veterans committee ballots, contemporary or whatever they're called now, classic or current, or I can't remember what the committees are called these days. But Ken Boyer was on the one that where Tony Oliva and Gil Hodges, Minnie Minoso, Jim Cott all got in. And Dick Allen just missed, and Ken Boyer was actually pretty far down the list, but he was on the ballot. But now that Scott Rowland, another Cardinal third baseman, is going into the Hall of Fame this summer, I think the candidacy for this, for this Cardinals legend has gotten a little better. You could definitely make the case. He was the 1964 NL MVP, 1964 World Series winner. Just their overall really solid career. You could just look it up on Baseball Reference. Stats kind of speak for themselves. More than consistent. He was consistently very good to excellent. And 5 Gold Gloves, I believe, to his own right. Scott Rowland won, I believe, 8, and I believe his glove is, he was a good bat, but his glove is the real reason I think he's going in. But this is Ken Boyer's rookie card from 1955 Topps. It's in pretty nice shape. My hope is that it would grade when I do send it in a grade later this year, probably in the fall. A 5 is what I'll be aiming for. I think it's got a decent chance at it. So pick this up as a best offer, buy it now. So I got this for, I believe, about $45, I think, out the door. Actually, it's pretty nice. This is like sort of, I wouldn't call it an investment by any way. It's more of a collecting thing, but if he does get in, that would be even better because the value of this card would certainly go up after I get it graded. It'll probably go up a little bit after I get it graded regardless because it is in pretty good shape. Hoping for a 5 on it, like I said, and unfortunately I'm getting some glare there. I'll leave it there for now, see how it goes, but there's one I wanted to show. And then chronologically, the next one I'm going to show. So Boyer, it won't be up again posthumously, of course. He's been gone a long time. For another couple of years, I think. I think 2025 maybe is his next time up. Because actually, no, 24. I think next year, I think he's up again, actually. This year, for induction in 24, so he'd be potentially December 24 for election in 2025, I think is when that next committee votes again. But the next one I wanted to show here is from 1964 Topps, and he's got a shot to go in this year on the 1980 to present committee for managers, umpires, and executives. And that is Lou Panella. So this is 1964 Topps. His Topps rookie. Well, obviously Topps rookie. It looks, okay on the front. It looks pretty okay. It doesn't look, stellar. This looks like a VG card on the front, but it's actually a VG at best card, maybe even just a GD, because it does have a crease here. But here's the thing about this card. I'll flip it over. This is not a regular Topps card. This is a Topps. There we go. This is a Topps Venezuela card. Um, and it's you could see it was taken off of a wall or a scrapbook or something. Is so the thing with these. Well, first off, This is my first Topps Venezuela issue card that I kind of have. I've been wanting to just have one because I think that whole story of Topps making cards in the '60s, most of the years of the '60s. I don't think they did a set every year in the '60s, but this was, I had a thought about getting a Panella rookie card just because, he's the manager he was. He only won one World Series, but he took a lot of teams to the playoffs, made every team he managed better. Although the Rays were maybe the exception there. He managed them for a few years, and they never really truly got good. But the every other team he managed, especially Seattle, he did real good things with Seattle, and it's a shame they never made it to the World Series. Won his World Series with Cincinnati in 1990. Also took the Cubs at the end of his managing career to the playoffs a couple times. So this again is the black backs here, obviously, as opposed to the orange back, just makes it stand out as the Venezuela issue. And obviously with this stuff on it, it probably grades no better than a 2 and possibly even a 1. Actually, I will still get it graded because I want it graded because it's the Venezuela. Actually, my thought is it'll probably grade fair 1.5. That's my guess because the front, even with this little crease there, on blues half no less, it still presents pretty well. The thing with these Venezuela cards, from what I've seen, the paper stock, and I could sort of tell for myself when I did put it into this card saver, the paper stock is notably less substantial than the regular Topps issues. And the colors don't hold up very well. A lot of the ones you see up for auction, they're like browning and really rounded because the paper just wears and tears over time, I guess, they just weren't as high quality cards. But what jumped out at me with this one was the color was really nice. I actually picked this up on ComC. It was listed on eBay, by ComC, and I went to the ComC site, and I've never really done any business on there before. So it's actually the first card I bought through ComC. I did have an account on there, but I don't have any cards listed or actually ever bought anything until now. They gave me a nice discount on there, baked in, I guess, because of just having a login and stuff. So paid a little over 30 for this, which, may be considered a lot, but I just wanted to have have a Venezuela card, and the fact that it was a rookie that I was also kind of looking for just kind of makes it like check off two things there at one time, which I thought was kind of cool to have. So, aside for, if this stuff wasn't on here, it probably has a shot at a 2.5 or a 3, but it's probably a 1 or a 1.5 at best, and that's okay. I still think it'll be cool to have, and I do want to have it slabbed. I'm on the fence about whether if he does get elected into the hall this winter, then I'll for sure get it slabbed. If I might hold out until seeing what happens in December about him, because some people are saying he might have a chance to get in on that ballot this year. So, assuming he is on it, and mostly I don't think the ballot for that executive and manager and umpire committee has been released yet. But like Joe West, almost for sure the umpire is going to be on there, and he'll almost certainly get in. Supposedly, like George Steinbrenner is being talked about for being on that list as well. It'd be interesting if George and Lou both went into the hall in the same year. That would be kind of funny. But we'll see what happens there. But I thought it was a cool, fun little pickup there for the collection, regardless of whether I get it graded or not. The last one I wanted to show is one that I've had my eye on for a while. And I finally did pick it up. I saw a decent example, a pretty good example at an LCS here. And it is now in my possession, Thurman Munson rookie, 1970 Topps. So my hope, and I will get this one graded, of course. And when I send it in, I'm going to hope for a 6. Might be a bit of a stretch. I think a 5 is a good chance. It's off center left somewhat. It's got a little bit of an edge issue there. But the corners themselves are pretty good. More like very good, I'd say. Not much really in the way of fish eyes or anything like that. So it's in pretty nice shape. I'm really happy to have it in the collection. It's been on my radar for a while to add this, and finally I made the decision to do it. So, and I do business with this particular LCS, a fair amount, and he didn't want to come down on this one. He thought he had it priced fairly enough, and yeah, he's probably right. But especially given the popularity of Thurman. But again, is Thurman ever going to get in the Hall? I don't know. I think Thurman's chances of getting in the Hall are enhanced greatly if a similar catcher in terms of length of service gets in the Hall as well. And I do think that's a very good chance in 5 or 6 years, whenever even in his first year of eligibility comes up, and that is Buster Posey. If you look at their stats, if you look at Thurman's stats, I'm actually going to move these out of the way just because of the glare. I want to get them away from the glare of the light that's kind of shining down from my ceiling here. So I'm just going to put them off to the side under something here. So this is a Buster Posey auto, just real quick, from 2014 Triple Threads, number 49 out of 50. I'm not a big Triple Threads fan, actually, but I did like this auto. I picked this up pretty much right when he retired. When he announced his retirement in 2021, I was like, he's probably going to make the Hall, I think. Even he played, 11 seasons maybe total. Won 3 World Series, Rookie of the Year, MVP. Just overall solid player, and playing all for one team, I think, enhances your chances. So I picked this auto up a couple years ago, and I do like having its number to 50, like I said. But again, Buster and Thurman, you do a comparison of their stats, and they are incredibly similar. Thurman played in parts of 11 seasons. Buster played in 1 more than that. And just overall, their stats are very similar. Buster a little bit better on offense, but not by a ton. Thurman notably better on defense, I think you could say. Has the Gold Gloves to prove that. I think Buster maybe won 1 Gold Glove. Thurman, I believe, won 3. I should have fact-checked myself on that before I jumped on here. I did look it up a week or 2 ago. Thurman probably has the better notables in the postseason. Buster's got more at-bats, but Thurman really shined in the postseason. Probably I'd give Thurman the edge in the postseason there, even though he's got 1 more World Series championship. But anyway, if Buster gets in, which I think he will, I think the case is that much stronger for Thurman to eventually get into. So I was picking up his rookie card regardless, but with that in mind, just that thought is on my mind too about that particular card, and all of Thurman's cards. So I wanted to share that. And one other little thing I wanted to share about Thurman, you probably know about his 1971, classic 1971 card, which I have in a 4, and I didn't take it out for this video, but does this photo look familiar? I thought this was a super cool photo, or super cool little pickup. I grabbed this probably about 2 months ago, actually, and I just want sharing it now, but this is a 1971 press guide for the Yankees. And they weren't very good in 71 yet. They were, maybe starting to turn a corner, but not really. They were still pretty much in the doldrums. But Thurman was a second-year player at that point, but he was on the cover of this because he was Rookie of the Year in 1970. It's in hitting. This is Ralph Houck, the manager, who I believe was Manager of the Year in 1970. So they must have done, above expectations in 70, but it still was a few years before they were becoming good again. But really, this is not a yearbook. This is this is a tool for the media, for reporters and broadcasters to use back in the day. So it's got bios and stuff, which is cool. And I should have it in a protective sleeve, and I probably will get something for it. But at the same time, I like the ability to just kind of thumb through it every once in a while to enjoy it. It's got cool things in here like, where teams stay in New York, for their hotels, and where the Yankees travel to for their hotel, where they stay on the road, and things like that. It's pretty cool. It's got, game by game of last year, the year before, I should say, no-hit games at that point. Look at Babe Ruth's 1927 homers. Cool little things like that. Maris's, when he hit him in 61 with days. Really cool, interesting facts that, broadcasters maybe could use during a game, or reporters can just sort of fall back to if they're looking up a curious stat. Maybe they could find it. Here's their schedule in 1971. It's just a cool little keepsake, I thought, and this photo in particular drew me to it. And I got it off of eBay, off of apparently a pretty reputable seller of these things. So anyway, I just wanted to show a few cards here of, maybe someday Hall of Famers. that, I thought were worth picking up and finally got around to it. I'm particularly excited about all three, but, we'll see if they'll get in the Hall someday, but that's it. So, go Sunderland, and we'll see if they can pull it out and reach Wembley next weekend. But in the meantime, enjoy the games, baseball that is, this weekend, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.